Hey guys, just wanted to do a quick review on my new SR Suntour SP12 suspension seat post. I'm sorry, that name is, it's kind of long, I'm not gonna lie. But I've had this seat post for about 1 day and I've been, I guess, overhyped on it because of all the YouTube videos I've been seeing on it and how people keep saying it's a game changer. And after trying it, I kind of believe it lives up to the hype. However, I think it might have been a little bit overhyped because it's not perfect, but man, it's really good. So let's talk about it. First of all, what is it? It's just a suspension seat post, okay? That means imagine a suspension front fork. The cheap ones, they just have like a spring inside it, and so it just bounces on the spring. That's pretty much the same thing here. You got a big spring inside it. I'm gonna post up a picture so that you guys can see how it looks like. Yes, you can remove it. The company even says you can swap it out because the one that it comes with is for weight ranges between 135 to like 175, and they have one for lighter people who are around 100 pounds, around there, 110, 120, and they have a heavier one for people who are like 200 pounds, around there. So yeah, you can easily swap it, super easy to take out. You unscrew the little, because let me show you guys. Give me a minute. There we go. Okay, so right here, it's got a little mechanism that lets you tighten, or I guess compress the spring a little, which makes this tighter, and also loosen out the spring to make it less tight. And so if you just keep unscrewing this, eventually, boop, it comes off. You pull the spring out, you put in the new spring, you put this back on. Super easy to mess with that. And also, gotta make sure when you buy it that you're getting the right size. This is 27.2, which is what I need. This is the minimum insert. This is the maximum insert, obviously. Let me put it back in there. So like I was saying, guys, spring inside, replaceable. It has weight ranges. You might have to, I tried looking up the other springs because you do have to buy them separately. And on Amazon, could not find them. Well, okay, I didn't look that hard, but couldn't find them. So I'm guessing you have to go to the company's website, buy from them specifically. I don't know. I'll see if I can find some information and post it up, at least in the description for you guys. Anyways, so it's a regular spring suspension seat post. However, it then has this mechanism up here. You see, regular spring suspension seat posts kind of work with this thing going up and down. That's it. But this adds some bearings up here so that, I don't know if you can see that there, but this bearing rolls on top of this, and then this one just kind of slams into it to stop it from continuing to move up. And these ones on the sides just let the whole mechanism move. And what they do is that instead of having the seat go up and down the post, it actually moves down and back, and then up and forward. So it goes in this semi-circular motion, and what that does is, right here, when you pedal, you want your feet to be almost completely extended as you're sitting down. And so when you hit a bump and the suspension compresses, right, if it were to compress in, then you'd bend your knees a little, but instead it moves backwards like that. That way your knees stay the same exact length away from the pedals. And supposedly that helps with knee problems if you're older, and even if you're younger, eventually it'll turn to knee problems. So it helps with knee problems, but what I've actually noticed is that it helps a lot more for efficient pedaling. Because if your feet are at the right extension, it becomes way easier to pedal. I don't know exactly why, but I've noticed it's much easier. And so that helps you keep them at the right extension instead of like a normal suspension seat post that would be up and down, compressing your legs. Not good for you, makes it harder to pedal. However, that comes with an issue. What if you have a bike like mine, which is not very easy to pedal because it's a heavy bike? It's meant to get even heavier with either a passenger or a bunch of groceries in the back and the front. It's got 3.3-inch tires, which add rolling resistance, and it only has one gear. You're not meant to pedal this. I'm sorry, this is supposed to be looking street legal so cops don't take you off the street, but this is too big and heavy to be a pedaling bike. So with that being said, is that useful for that? I don't know. Which has got me thinking, like, would a regular suspension seat post get most of the job done? Because this bike is obviously not meant to be pedaled, it's meant to be throttled. So but anyways, that's just a thought. This was actually for my girlfriend. You see, her bike is a Class 1 e-bike, which means no throttle, pedaling only. And so this mechanism is perfect for her, right? Except you gotta realize that it adds the total of 4 inches. And while she's the type of girl who likes to have her feet reach the ground, personally, I kind of like that too. Because here, even though my feet are perfectly extended on the pedals, I'm 5'7", I tiptoe on the ground. Unless I lean the bike a little to the side, I'm tiptoeing the bike. So that is an issue on top of the weight issues. But like I said, the way you can fix with the spring, the extra 4 inches in height, you can't fix with anything. So it does have those 2 issues. Oh yeah, my girlfriend's 108, 109. I'm like 156. So I'm perfect in the range in terms of height and in terms of weight, but she's not. And guess what happens with the seat post when you're not in the right weight range? Well, obviously you can swap out the springs, but if you don't have the right spring for your weight, well, it'll either feel like it's not even there or like it's always compressed. Yeah, that's the issue my girlfriend had of it's not even there. To her, it felt like it was just a stiff fork. I mean, a stiff seat post. Well, to me, it felt perfectly nice and springy, which brings me to how it felt. Guys, this does its job. Like, it doesn't do its job. Let's say if you're jumping off the ledge into the street from the sidewalk, that's about like 2-3 inches tall. So yeah, it doesn't quite do that. It has 50 millimeters of travel. What's that, like an inch? Maybe 2 inches of travel versus, I don't know, the ledge of the sidewalk being 3 inches. So for big bumps, this isn't gonna do it. But for little ones, like little rocks or little bumps on the sidewalk, this is amazing. Normally on the sidewalk, I go kind of slow because I don't like all the bumps. But with this, I can just blast full speed on the sidewalk, not even notice the bumps. It's awesome. It's even great off-road, as long as you avoid like 2-3 inch objects. That's gonna mess you up. But if you're going over just little bumps, little imperfections on the dirt, this is great. I actually love it. I can now keep my butt on my seat most of the time. Obviously the big bumps still gotta get up, but it just feels super comfortable. But there's also some other issues on it. For example, I wouldn't say this is a big issue, but before I had my Rad Runner 2 seat, and that seat was actually kind of cushiony. You get me? It was pretty nice of a seat. But this is the only seat I had laying around, so it's the only one I could put on this. Yeah, this seat is not very comfortable. It barely has any cushioning on it. And what I've noticed is, thanks to the spring, thanks to the suspension seat post, which I guess thanks to the spring, this has actually become quite comfortable. However, it's only become as comfortable, or maybe a little more comfortable, than my regular Rad Runner seat with a stiff seat post. I think a nice comfortable seat, like one of those big Cloud 9 seats, might be almost as good. I wouldn't say it's as good, but almost as good as getting the suspension seat post with a bad seat. So considering the price, I bought this for 87 bucks. So let's just round it up to 90 bucks. While a seat is like 30, 35 bucks, I think it might be better to buy the seat before buying the seat post. But if you have the seat and you want the seat post, I honestly think it's a great buy. I've been using it for only 1 day, but I have a chance to return it. I don't want to return it. I really do like it. I don't want to say it's a game changer. I think that's overhyping it a bit, but it's been really, really good. Oops, my flashlight just went out. Either way, it's been really good. However, there are some other little issues. Again, nothing major. Like for example, this is not a replacement for a rear suspension, okay? For 2 reasons. One, a rear suspension affects the whole bicycle, and especially the rear tire, while this only affects your butt, which means when you're going over bumps, with the rear suspension, it pushes the tire back against the ground and keeps the tire in contact with the ground, which gives you better stability and control and traction. This just keeps your butt nice and comfortable. Okay, and the other thing is a rear suspension, you can upgrade it to a air spring, and so you get better control over it, and it's just nice and softer. Well, this, well, it is what it is. Maybe they could make it with air, but that would make it more expensive, more complicated. Nah, probably don't recommend it, considering it does a really, really good job just the way it is. So it's not a replacement for a real suspension. The seat, like I said, it's cheaper, might be a better buy. But overall, guys, this seat post, it's really good. I don't want to say it's a game changer again, but it is really good. I totally recommend it. Of course, make sure to get yourself a good seat, not this. Make sure you're okay with the extra 4 inches of height. That'll be fine for pedaling, but it might not be fine for putting your foot on the ground, which, like I said, I tiptoe on this. And my girlfriend absolutely hates it, mostly because of that. But also, make sure you're in the right weight range, otherwise you're gonna have to buy an extra spring. But let's say you're in the right weight range, you don't mind the extra 4 inches in height because you already have your saddle 4 inches up. Guys, I fully recommend this after you buy your seat. That's it. Just buy your seat. You have to get this. It's a lot better than having to switch from my Rad Runner to like a full suspension bike, and especially because this specific design, they don't have bikes like this because it has for a passenger and it's nice and sturdy, so you could carry a good amount of weight right there. It also has a passenger seat, which makes it look like a moped while still having the step through. So I haven't seen this bike. I mean, the closest I've seen to this bike with suspension is like the Grizzly or something, or the Super 73s. Those I mean, they kind of do look like it, you get me? Those bikes kind of look like this, but they usually don't have the step through feature, which I really like. Makes it super easy to get on and off. And so there's nothing I can do. I can upgrade the front suspension, and something I will say is this mostly works on the rear suspension, not so much on the front. Although I heard that Connect has a stem that has suspension in it. That's crazy, but that sounds awesome. It's just expensive, so future thing. For this bike, I can't do anything other than get a suspension seat post. And for other bikes like that, it's like, if you already bought an e-bike and it gets the job done, you just want more comfort, this is perfect, fully recommend it. And I'll probably talk more about this in a future video, but yeah guys, that's it for this little review. Again, make sure you're in the correct weight range, probably upgrade your seat first, make sure you don't mind the height, and that's it guys, fully recommend it. It does feel like if you have suspension, not so much for traction and stuff like that, but for comfort, definitely. And I hope to see you guys in my next video. Bye bye.